Hi everybody, it's Doreen, and welcome back to day number 9 of my Christmas with the Silhouette. So today's project is going to be another card, but it's going to be a different kind of a card because it's going to be a pop-out card. So what does our card look like for today? This is the card that we will be making, and when you open it up, the star in the middle pops out. Now for the front of the card, as you can see, it looks shiny right here and here, and it looks like it's glossy paper, but it's not. Can you guess what it is? Well, come on and join me, and I'm going to show you what this really is and how I made this card. Okay everybody, so before we go ahead and put day 9 card together, I want to talk about laying it out on your mat. I found that the instructions for laying this out on the mat were not correct, as far as this is a print and cut file, and it does act as a print and cut file, except there are some features where it does not cut, and you'll have to go in and do some adjusting actually when you bring in the card. Now this is a Silhouette Studio file, so you don't need a designer edition to do what we're going to have to do to make this card cut. So I'm going to go out to the Silhouette library, and we're going to put in the card ID for that card. So the card ID number is 14500, and I'm just going to click go, and it's going to bring up the Snowflake pop-up card is what it's called. So we're going to open that up, and it's telling you to cut your paper 8. It says layer an 8x6 piece of colored paper behind this print and cut card to show through the pop-up snowflake cutout. So what I did was I did open up the print and cut, so we're going to click on that now, and as you can see, this is our file. So if I turn on my cut lines, you'll see that the only thing it is going to cut is this piece right here in the center, which is going to be your pop out. But the problem is, you send this to the printer, and now you need it to cut, and it is going to cut out the snowflake in the center, but it does not cut the rest of the card. So if I were to take a square, because it said to make your layer 8x6, so I'm going to go ahead and create a square that is that width and height. So let's go to our scale window, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the width 8, and we're going to make the height 6, and then we're not going to click the aspect ratio, and we're going to click apply. So now if I move this over to here, you'll notice that this does not fit, and it will not act as a layer behind the pop-up. So I tried doing it that way, and I can switch it, and we'll do the width 6 and the height 8 and click apply, and as you can see, it does not fit that way either. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but I think the instructions where it says to cut your layer 8x6 is incorrect. So I did get it to fit on here, and I'm going to go to my file and show you how I got this on here. Now granted, you can cut this in or lay this out on a 12x12 sheet of cardstock, but I don't have a 12x12 printer. My printer is only 8.5x11, so this is why I had to lay it on my mat like so. And this was the way I laid it on the mat, and then I created a square that measures, make sure that's correct. My square measures 8.5 by 6.5 for my layer behind the card, and then I drew a square around the season's greeting with the snowflakes and the snowflake in the center so that I could make sure that it would cut. So if I turn on my cut lines now, you'll see that I'm going to have the center is going to be cut out, and then we'll have the snowflakes here that will just print, and then I'll have my border where when after I print it and I send this to the silhouette, it will cut around the snowflake or on the edge here. Now I did cut off just a little bit of that snowflake in the print, but that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out to you so that you would know that this is not the correct instructions. At least that's what I found when I went to make this card. And I tried this 2 different ways and it did not measure out correctly. So I guess that sometimes happens. So the other thing that I've added on here is this Wise Men Still Seek Him, and that is a silhouette file, and I will put the design ID number in the description bar of the video. I've also created, or you don't have to do this on your silhouette. You can go ahead and cut this square using your paper trimmer, and I have it listed here as 6.25 in width, or height, I'm sorry. Let me go up to the scale window to make sure. For your width, it's 4 inches, and for your height, it's 6.25. But actually, when we meet at the table, I'm going to give you a different measurement. So you don't necessarily have to cut this out using your silhouette. You can just cut this out using your paper trimmer, at least this piece. The Wise Men Still Seek Him, you will need to cut with your silhouette. So if you're going to make this card with me, meet me back at the table, and I'm going to show you how to put this card together. Okay, everybody, so we're going to bring up the supplies and we're going to get started with day number 9. So I went ahead and I did cut out, make sure I have the right one because I cut it out twice. I did do the print and cut and got my season greeting, and as I said when I showed you how to set it up on your mat, that for some reason the file did not contain the cut file to go around your outside of your card. So you're going to take your card and fold it in like so that when it opens up it pops out like that. So now the next thing I've done is I've gone and cut out my cardstock, and I gave you the measurement for that, and this is going to go inside here and then close like that so that when it's open it pops out your star in the center. So let's go ahead before we put this inside here and put our outside layer on our card. So now this ended up being a 8.5 by 6, I'm sorry, wrong way, 4.25 by 6.25 inch card. So that's how I end up making it. So for my top layer, this is some scrap paper that I had left over from last Christmas. I believe I did a couple cards using this paper. So I don't know what paper pack that I got this from. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, it's from this paper pack right here called the Christmas Combo Stack. So that's where I got the paper. So let's go ahead and put our layer on there. So I just want to line this up and look at this. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and ink my edges. So let me do that. Okay, I've gone ahead and inked my edges, and I used the Tim Holtz Distress ink, and this is the Salty Ocean. So we can now go ahead and add this to the card. Let me make sure I'm putting it on the right side there. And I'm going to lay it right there. So I'm going to get some tape on here, and we're going to open up the inside of the card and get our tape on the back. And oh, previously I said when we were laying this on the mat, I told you I'd give you a different measurement for the top layer here. So this measures actually 6 1/4 by 4 1/16. And I came up with that odd size when I looked at the card and I started doing some measuring, and I decided that that was the size that I wanted to use. So you can use, if you want, 6 1/4 by 4 inches, however you want to do it, but I decided to add that 1/16 of an inch. So now we can go ahead and put this on the front of our card. So now let's talk about what I did for the saying, wise men still seek him. I want to try and do something that I haven't done before on a card, and that is to use vinyl. Now I'm going to be showing you some projects in the future in this series where I have put vinyl on some ornaments, but I want to try putting it on a card. So I did go ahead and cut out my greeting using the vinyl, and this is what it looks like, and this is some glossy vinyl. So now what we need to do is, because I've gone ahead and done what is called weeding, I need to go ahead and place my clear tape, which is what's going to have, there is a sticky back to the other side of this, but what you'll need is something to pick this up and put it on the card. And you would do this if you were going to put vinyl on anything once you've cut it out. So I'm just going to line this up on here and make sure that I get all of this. And then I'm just going to make sure that this is on here. And I apologize for this glare, but this tape has a sort of a glare to it. So we want to make sure we get that on there and smooth it on, because when we pick that tape up or pull back that blue backing, your design should be stuck on the tape, which as you can see it is, but I just want to make sure I've gotten all of it. So I'm going to pull this up, and there I have it. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and add it to my card. So I'm just going to decide where I want to place it, and I want to have it come about right here. So let's make sure we've got it on there and lined up, and then I'm just going to press down on there and rub that. And when I pull that tape up, my greeting should be on that top layer. So now let's go ahead and start peeling this back. And it looks like we need to rub just a little bit more. And I'm sorry if the camera is shaking. I don't mean to make anyone dizzy. So I'm going to continue pulling that tape back. And sometimes you have to make sure you press down hard to make it stick. So I'm using my nail. I'm going to pull this back. And like I said, I've never done this before, so you're seeing me do this on a card for the very first time. I typically do this on glass or some other object. But I wanted to try and see what it would look like doing it on a card. So it looks like we've got all of it. And this tape is actually reusable. So I'm just going to stick that on my wall where I keep extra pieces. And there you have it. So now before we add our inside, I'm going to, well, I was going to go and put some embellishments on there, but because of that, I don't want the card not to be able to adhere. So let's go ahead and add the inside. So let's make sure we've got it going in the right direction, and to sit like that once we tape it down. So we're going to start by taping the front half first. So I'm going to get my tape on there, and I'm going to use the ATG gun and get my tape on. And remember, you don't want to put any tape along here because this is your pop-up piece. So we're going to kind of try to work around that with our tape. And it looks like we've got enough on there. So now I'm going to line this up in here. And let's make sure we get this straight, or as straight as I can. And it looks like that's lined up about as straight as it's going to get. And then I'm going to just take and fold down and press. And so now we've got our first half added. So now what we need to do is add the second half. So I'm just going to close it, turn it over to this side, and I'm going to get my tape down on this side. So once again, I'll pull out my ATG gun. And I'm not going to say that I liked the way this card was set up for you to import it into your Silhouette software. But sometimes that happens when you're making a card. It doesn't always come out the way you want. So I'm going to go ahead and press this one down and rub on that side. And then when you open it up, it opens up like so. So there is our pop-up or pop-out. So now what I want to lastly do is go ahead and put my embellishments on, and then I'll come back with the finished card. Okay everybody, so I'm back with the finished card. So this is what it looks like. So I wanted to enhance the paper here on the top that has the little snowflakes on it. So what I did was I took my diamond stickles and I just put some in the center of each of the little snowflakes sporadically throughout the paper. Then I also took some stickles because I wanted to brighten up the star here, and I ran that the stickles on that star piece, and then I added a bling in the center, and then I've added a bling up here at the top of the nativity scene. And then down here at the bottom, I just took some of those stars that I've been using, and I used them on my cards last year, and I added some down here at the bottom, and then I added this little angel. And they're very hard to see on camera, but trust me, they really shine in person. So I decided to leave the inside of the card alone because I wanted to really focus on the outside. We've already got the star popping out when you open the card, so I left that alone. Although I did want to bling it up, but I thought, nope, I'm going to leave this like it is and just go with the front of the card. And then I went ahead and just made an envelope using my We Are Memory Keeper punch board, and I stamped out Happy Holidays using the Salty Ocean Distress ink by Tim Holtz. So that's it everybody. This is day number 9 of my Christmas with Silhouette series. So now, don't forget to come back for day 10 and let's see what we'll be making. Thanks for watching. Bye.